Hello, this is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. Today I want to show you kind of a follow-up video. This is Mike's Chrome A&E 3-slot payphone. And basically what happened here is I believe the body key can just be opened with a screwdriver. And we've done an earlier video of this telephone, kind of like an initial checkout video. But the vault door lock, which is a 10L in this model, did not have a key. And I get calls all the time with people saying, well, you know, I lost my vault door key. Could you just send me another key? Kind of like a nonchalant kind of thing going on. No, you're never going to find another key to your vault door on any of these 3-slot payphones, because what happened was they made two when they made the lock, and if you lost the 2 keys, that's it. The only thing that can be done is you can replace the lock with one that has a key, or you can take an old key that has been parted away from a lock and use that key and re-key the lock to that key. So basically most people won't do that. I hear there's a guy, I think he's one of my suppliers, I think he charges like $40 an hour to do that. Or it might even be more than that. All I know, he's always told me that they wouldn't want to pay the price, but a lot of people do. So I'm not sure exactly what he's getting, but it doesn't really matter. I'm just explaining the story to you, and they want a lot of money when they try to re-key a key to an old lock that does not belong. So what we did, and another thing that you want to do, I want to show you this 10L lock. Now, this 10L lock has a serial number right here, and if you do not see that in an A&E telephone, 3-slot payphone, if you don't see that serial number or a marking saying it's a 10L lock, it's not a 10L. It has to have that serial number, and it has to have it stamped 10L. I've seen in the past where there's some people trying to pass off the 29 lock as a 10L, and it is not a 10L. These 10Ls are very hard to find. And so basically what you see here, what I have going on, and I'm going to show you, is I ordered from my supplier 3 keys, because although this is a 10L lock, there was some differences in the keys. So you have to pick out the right one. So I got the 3 keys from my supplier, and they came the other day. And what I did was I found the key. See, all these keys don't just fit. It matters. If you look at the front of this lock, how you have your jagged points here. And so this key happened to fit this lock. Okay, and it goes into the lock. But it would not open the lock, because naturally this is not the key to the lock. It just fits the lock. So that's the first point you have to pass. You got to get a key that will go into your lock. Once you do that, you can take the lock apart and re-key this key that you just found to the lock, and that has been done, and I'm going to show you. Now these other 2 keys, they will fit something down the road, okay, but they don't fit this 10L. So I'm going to move this to the side a little bit, and I'm going to kind of show you something now. This key, let me see here what we got. There you are. It's been re-keyed. So now your deadbolt comes up and down. And I don't have this lock stationary. It's just, it's still apart basically. I've just got it pressed back together again. But this gives you some kind of an ideal that it can be done. And you can take these locks apart and rekey them to the keys. And in this case, we had to do that because these 10L locks are getting very hard to find. So I'm going to show you right now and take this lock apart real quick because I don't have it all the way back together again. So I want to peel this apart and take the outer cover off. Now, I want to be gentle with it because you don't want nothing exploding on you and kind of messing everything up. So anyway, what you want to do here is you want to peel this apart, and I want to show you here real quick the inside of everything, and that's what that looks like. Now here's some of the little pieces and parts that you're going to have to rekey. You just got to study the lock. You got to take a look at it and move these around. Now you're probably going to need a Dremel tool with a cutting blade on it because sometimes you have to do a little work on these and get them all back into place. But once you study it a little bit and kind of look at it, what you can basically do is get an ideal of what you want and how it all works. And if I can do this one-handed, because see the lock's basically apart, and I'm going to kind of try to get it into a position. What you want is you want the slot in all of these keepers, you want the slot to open up so that the deadbolt can come down. And that's basically what you want. You want to get them into a position where this deadbolt is going to slide back down into them. See that? And then I'm going to try to do this where it'll go back up. And I don't want to set the key all the way up because I want you to get the ideal of what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to take every one of these off and you put them on one at a time, and you'll get the hang of it because see there's different distances because of the grooves in the key, and I'll show you here on this one. Now you got to watch out because these little springs will come out. They're connected right in here, and what's going to happen is if they fall out, you just put them back in. But each one of these has a groove in it, okay? And the distance right here, the distance from this point to this point is different. Some of them are much wider, some of them are skinnier. And that all has to do with how your key is cut and it moving it over, see? And then there's a stationary one, which the stationary one is right here. That is the second one down, and it's held by these two rivets that basically come through here. I'll try to peel that up for you real quick and show that to you. I'm going to take it out. This one is stationary, and they all have one that's stationary in them. And this is the stationary one. It doesn't move. It's not spring-loaded. It stays in its spot. So what you got to do is you got to set this one, and they all have this. You got to set it where it swipes. See how that groove is there? It's going to swipe right through there and not move the stationary one at all. So you're looking for a deep cutout in your key there. And believe me, if you study it for a while, you're probably not going to be able to do this the first time. I've done quite a few of these, okay? You might not get it right away, but if it's just like anything else. If you work at it long enough and you study it, you're going to figure it out. So all these had to be repositioned for this key. Now, will every key you come across and lock, if you ever do this, will you be able to use every one of these? Well, you might. And then again, you might not. So, it helps to have a few extra spare parts, like an old lock that you're going to, use some spare parts out of. But in this case, I mean, even though the grooves in the keys are a little different on each key, you have a mixture of these. It's just like a lottery number. You can move them around. And so, you know, if you have to take the Dremel tool and take a little notch, see, there's a little catch here. And when when the deadbolt comes down, it's notched. So if the key is not the exact key, what the ideal is these two notches catch each other, and it kind of keeps you from opening the lock. Well, you can take a Dremel tool if you're almost there, and you can sand or cut that little notch off so that the key actually slides in better. Because after all, we're not talking about a payphone that's going to be on the route. And believe me, if it has all of your keepers in here, you're never going to just walk up to this and open it with another key, okay? Because this key has its cuts, and it is unique to this lock now. So, you know, you're just not going to come over with some key and get into my little bank money that's down in the vault, or my bubblegum money. It just isn't going to happen because this lock is keyed to this new key now that we have, which is an old key. It's not a new one. So, and this is all loose here, so I'm going to try to go ahead and open it for you. There you go. See how that works? You want that deadbolt. You want to line all of these up where the slot is, and that deadbolt can slide right down into that slot. I'll try to hold all this together, kind of give you an idea of what's going on. See, there you go. You want that slot right here to line up with a deadbolt. That's your main objective. If you're working on one of these and you pay attention to where this deadbolt comes down and goes into that slot of every one of them, you'll be able to do what I just did. And they do charge you big money for that, okay? They'll charge you a lot of money. And these keys, these locks, you can't find them anymore. I had a really hard time the last 10L lock I found. Okay, they just were very hard to find, and you know, you'd almost have to get lucky to even find one nowadays. So now that shows you a little bit of the inner workings of a lock. Okay, and believe me, I've seen a lot of people massacre these locks. There's a way to take this cover off, and there's a way not to take it off. And the way not to take it off is you do not want to grind the rivets from the back side of the lock, okay? If you grind these rivets here, they'll fall off and they won't be able to hold all your inner workings. The front cover where you stick the key in is the only place you want to grind, and you only want to grind these two rivets, okay? Just them two. Now, the other thing is I realize that not everybody's going to be able to do this, so we do it. And that's why I'm here. But this is in case you ever want to try to take on the task of, you know, if you got a lock in your payphone and you can get to it and you don't have a key, you can still find these keys. They're around. You know, there was a lot of them that got lost or misplaced from their locks, or somebody would just sell a whole ring of like a payphone route, bunch of keys. You know, they didn't have the telephones, they just had all the keys. These keys are still out there. You can still find them. And now this is a way that you can take the key from some other payphone and rekey it to your lock. And this is Mike's telephone, so for us to be able to do this and not have to search down a 10L lock and key now is going to put us much farther ahead into what would be a normal conversion of his 3-slot payphone. So basically I wanted to show you that video real quick and give you an idea of how difficult a vault lock and key can be. And you're just not going to get another key. I mean, some people think, oh, I'll just go to a locksmith, or I'll call somebody that's got one in old parts for phones. There is no keys for those locks. Once you lose the 2 keys that lock came with, it's done. It's over. and you got to do something like I just showed you. Now, the body lock is a different story. If you know the number on the body lock, like let's say it's a 29S or something like that, well, there is master keys and backup keys for them. But when it came to the vault lock, you're done. After you lose them keys, or if it don't come with the keys, that's it. It's over. And so that's really cool that worked out, and just thought you might, thought it was an interesting thing to show you. This is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.